Hello, good morning everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. With me, Yasyfa and Saffanah, with measure number 12, 19, 11, 23, 13, and 85. So today I would like to present about my analysis from the poetry Yacht and Calm by the Mathew Arnold. So this is. And then this is the poetry from the Mathew Arnold. You can pause and read. And about the Mathew Arnold was a poet who had an interest in the dynamics of culture in the Victorian era, living in an era that stimulated modern times. Arnold produced writings that can be classified as historical records, although not factual of society's reaction to the fundamental social and cultural changes of the time. The literary arena was particularly affected as the Victorian era marked the beginning for poets and artists alike to shape the romantic spirit that they had breathed into their works and adapt to the technological and industrial realities around them. And the poem entitled Youth and Calm explores a stream of consciousness that contemplates the youth and their dreams. And the study aims to uncover the meaning of the poem based on its textual composition without correlating it with Arnold's other works, using theoretical phenomenology tools to dissect language phenomena and the Freudo-Lacanian method in interpreting them. This study led to the revelation that the poem talks of death as a symbolically repressed object. Arnold criticism, he critiqued the obsession of his society with utilitarianism, and with reason. He didn't believe that science was offering anything good to mankind, and he rejected the growing Saint Big Temple. He was mainly concerned about the manner in which people could live fulfilled, live in an industrial society, and he makes an attempt to move from the exteriority of the bourgeois existence to an interiority of the self. For Arnold, poetry and culture become modes of interiority in order to nullify the exterior purity of bourgeois existence. The first important thing to note about the SAS and that the text is not meant for the professional man of letters, but rather is directed towards the general middle class reader who has some interest in poetry. It also contains some of the best known pronouncements of Arnold about poetry and poets. In fact, it is analysis that deals primarily with how to judge and evaluate good poetry, claims of very reflected, very high, and elevated status. In poetry, he places it over the disciplines of science, religion, theology, and philosophy. He believes that all the other fields of science, of religion, or philosophy, and of politics are full of charlatanism. People try to convey confusion between that which is good and desirable and that which is fake and harmful, so that people do not have a clear idea about what is right and wrong or what is good and bad. And here, what is the importance of poetry? Arnold believes that the ideas that are presented in poetry are infallible. He thinks that only poetry can offer spiritual and emotional support to man. It is the only viable method, according to him, of interpreting life. If poetry is to serve this great purpose in society, then we have to a very higher order of excellence. Our judgment of poetry have had to have much higher standards than that of the other disciplines, and the parameters which we apply to the judgment of poetry again should be much higher than those we apply to other subjects, since poetry can sustain and delight man to that it implies or follows that the best poetry only should be created and should be read. Therefore, it is imperative that the reader be extremely critical and conscious about what he or she is reading, and the reader should be constantly judging whether the poem is for his benefit or not. The reader has to read a poem very carefully to identify the true caliber of the poet as well as that of the poet. And here the issue. The young people are employed as ambivalent as their nature. oppose the conception of that, but at the same time, subconsciously embrace partial features of it. They want to earn the calmness to send to earth extra than the potential of loss of life. And in addition, they need to support the materiality that earthly fate offers. At the same time, as the Freudian Thanatos describes how a human's loss of life pressure leads to act of self-image, the Lacanian view places forward the notion that this power additionally leads to act for the attainment of quote satisfaction or choosens. The tangible materiality is what the teens are pursuing in their lifestyles. They reject the notion of the means and most effective understand calmness via their comprehension of the symbol. Arnold's incomprehension toward young people is represented in his projection of adolescents as being the ones who lack such mature knowledge of dying as the one he possesses. The concept of that is being constantly here. The revelation added approximately by this poem might also be a resonance to the cutting-edge discourses of kids. Nowadays, many young human beings are generatively categorized into the place of subculture for his or her nature to culturally oppose what the dominant sides are presenting. According to Hearts and Bucknell in 2008, and then the next is about language. The poem utilizes metaphors to figuratively specify the issue of that and things. Those two things are uttered in various expression and description. First, the notion of that is associated with a crown, introduced as a notion verb derived from its bodily idea and cause, a symbol of reward for the completion of one's goal in life, and the crowning of life and things in the line 6. And while this boon rewards the lifeless in line 7, the nation of that in this poem is likewise made analogs to the bodily ache of a person taking a relaxation from fear in line 2. And this accentuates the poem's position in equating them to the earthly movement of someone intentionally resting, for they have fulfilled their fates in existence. And the emphasis in crowning additionally positions Arnold or the person he employs to glorify the idea of death as a culmination. On the opposite face, yacht are portrayed through active, trans, and progressing natures. For example, one of the symbolization and death in teens identification is the development of wind of promise and repose in line 12. Distinct that picture as a nation wherein beings are reset in a static way, can have the nature of constantly moving just like the wind. Through these metaphors, a competition between loss of life and young people is branched off to the competition of static versus dynamic. And then here is the conclusion. This poem can be defined as Arnold's effort to raise an initial question on the nature of God and to postulate a comprehension of God in a appealing manner. The poem subconsciously puts God in a state of the real and advocates the nation of that serenity through the analysis of the figure of speech and types of imageries. It has been discovered that Arnold gives more attention to the particularities of Yad. He roams around to describe the psychology of Yad and only alludes to what Yod really wants. The lack of his explanation of the letter results in his inability to articulate the idea. Not like in Arnold's era, the calmness which Arnold questioned on this poem can be replied by using this modern dynamic, although unsatisfying as it sounds from the pedagogic and pious point of view that is the Arnoldian perspective. Again, this modern faith may not carry large weight inside the standard interpretation of textual context. However, through juxtaposing it to the present day circumstance, the transition may lie further inside the concept of how the youngsters are extremely inherently and traditionally willing to the character of opposing matters that offers them. This ends in the fact and corroboration of how loss of life, a horrible and inevitable second for all human beings, will become the aspect that they prominently fear and yet they selectively sought out. The Victorian age, as Arnold implicitly described in this poem, notice the young people as frontlessness in effort to counter this destiny. Later in this story, these contractive tendencies may nevertheless be present even through the oppositional spirits could in general be positioned inside and or projected into cultural, societal, and governmental spaces. And then here are the references. Okay, I think that's all for me. Thank you for your attention and thank you for watching.